What's up, viewers, subscribers, and agents alike? This your boy Enlightened Luciferian Prince coming at y'all once again. This is going to be a part two to a previous video called A Secret Letter by an Unknown Judge. Now, this expounds a little bit more into a more hidden, so to speak, concept behind a lot of what's been going on today, a lot of what's been going on in the world, and a lot of what will continue to go on because it's according to a plan that is a centuries-old plan. It is far more older than YouTube itself. It's far more older than Instagram. It's far more older than Spotify. It's far more older than a lot of what we call modernized technology, but the plan still remains the same. Now, according to people's ideology, according to your beliefs, according to your ignorances as well, it doesn't matter what you may believe, as Bill Cooper, who unfortunately was a warrior in the quest of truth for over 30 years, has said, it doesn't matter what you believe. If they believe it, it's going to happen. Now, let me proceed where I left off. Here we go. The royal and elite ruling class were constantly confronted by numerous rebellions. One such notable rebellion was led by a person personified as or called by the Roman Catholic tradition, Jesus Christ. And despite the fact that Jesus was eventually executed by the elite class for treason, his radical ideas appealed so deeply to the poor and downtrodden that his rebellion, called Christianity, spread like wildfire across the land. Note, there were more poor people than royal and elite class. However, the royal and elite were infinitely superior in intelligence and wealth, and they used their intelligence, wealth, and cunning to control the minds and hearts of the unwashed masses they defined as slaves. The same principle is applied in America to this date. After Rome invaded Judea and scattered the Jews, Freemasons began to offer their services to other kings and despots. Roman Emperor Constantine was convinced by one sect of Freemasons to compile a book of his own, which would encompass the Christian folk beliefs and prophecy and pagan beliefs of his people, establish his laws of conduct, and thus provide him with an infinitely better way to control and herd his slaves like sheep. The Lord is my shepherd became the preamble of this ideology. The Roman Church at this time was totally a pagan church, composed of doctrines that encouraged murder, human sacrifice, devil worship, peonage, the accumulation of wealth, the worship of the demon god-like ideology, and idolatry. Emperor Constantine deduced that he would need to either crush or utilize the tide of this Christian rebellion, which was devouring his kingdom. And so Constantine ordered that the basic principles of the Roman Church and the new Christian movement be merged together into one religion at the Council of Nicaea, which is, according to the historical context, is 8325, which resulted in the birth of the Holy Roman Church. Over many centuries to pass, the doctrines of the Holy Roman Church have been constantly expanded upon by the absorptions of other ideas and beliefs procured from other religions, prophets, and folklore. Those ideas and beliefs that were considered palatable to the royal and elite classes were persecuted relentlessly in an effort to establish a universal mental control and culture. Note, all of the royal families located in Europe, Asia, and South America eventually intermarried to make them all related by marriage, to strengthen their royal bloodlines, and to eliminate wars between the royal classes. They then pooled their wealth to create a new business enterprise, the financing of currency for various world governments, with the underlying motive to control and influence those governments through the debt that was owed to them. To increase the debt owed to them, they helped to instigate wars and conflicts between various countries and people. A philosophical rift eventually developed between the European royal family factions regarding their beliefs in an Almighty God and their purpose and duties toward mankind. This rift split the royal families into two factions, the European royalty and the Chinese royal family. These are just names. The European royal family concealed their power and was eventually behind the Rothschild name, a group which included most of the Nordic, Eastern European families and some of the Central and South American countries and the Vatican. The Sabbatean Jews followed the ancient religion of Babylon and practice an anti-traditional philosophy, which is highly pagan, and which explains their attraction and connection to the Vatican. This faction believes that the concept of an Almighty God is a historic fabrication premised upon folk legend and or prophets of the time, and that their only duty was to the royal family, the elite class, the accumulation of greater wealth, and their continued domination over governments and the ignorant, unwashed masses defined as their slaves. The European faction finances the Freemasons, the Mossad and the elite army of mercenaries concealed within their rank and file known as the Illuminati. The Freemasons are charged with the responsibility of driving the slaves. Mossad are used as bodyguards and intelligence gatherers, and together with the Illuminati are responsible for eliminating or terminating obstacles and problems with severe prejudice affecting the royal and elite families. The other larger royal faction, known as Chinese royal family, include the royal families of the Middle East, Asia, Russia, and most of Central and South America. They became a more devout group who had amassed what they believed to be proof of the existence of an Almighty God, and who believed that their royal family obligations include serving mankind. They believe their Almighty God, pending on His physical return to earth, and in the meantime of their Almighty God's wealth, should benefit all of humanity, so that man can devote more time and energy towards his mental, physical, and spiritual discipline and enlightenment. Ever since the philosophical split between the royal families, the European faction has constantly attempted to steal all or part of the Chinese faction's physical cache of wealth and plot the murder of the Chinese family elders. All the world's martial arts societies and masters are financed by the Chinese royal family, and in return, the martial arts masters have sworn a pledge to their Almighty God and to the royal family to provide security and protection for Chinese royal family. An army of ninjas protect the family elders to this day. Note: the oldest living elder is currently 165 years old, and the youngest is 95. Yes, there's a secret of youth, longevity, and a body free of disease, and the royal Chinese elders know what it is. Nearly all of the countries on earth have at one time or another received financing from the Chinese royal family because they truly are a devout and honorable group. It is this financing that the European faction has alternately been attempting to procure, since they have frequently failed to seize the Chinese faction's great physical cache of wealth, which is estimated to be 85% of the entire world's gold, silver, precious gems, and antiquities. That's a lot of wealth. But pause. Before I proceed, if you understand the illusionary concept of the Federal Reserve Bank, which is controlled by the opposite royal elitist so-called ideology, as opposed to the Chinese, you can see who really is the most powerful country on the face of this earth. The European faction is a ruthless group. They do not lend, they bribe and steal, and both royal family factions liberally utilize look-alike decoys surrounded by bodyguards because all of their family members are constantly at risk of assault and murder. The Holy Roman Church, which is a privately owned corporation defined as a religion, is housed within the Vatican City of Rome, and is a powerful royal faction and monoculture in their own right. Following the same principle utilized by the European royalty factions, the Vatican finances priests to drive their slaves and finances a mercenary group of priests known as Jesuits. The Jesuits are utilized as personal bodyguards and are responsible for physically eliminating problem people and obstacles to the church with extreme prejudice. The cardinals and bishops are the administrators and intelligence gatherers for the corporation. The appointed administrator of the Jesuits, called the Black Pope, and his pulpit is located within the confines of the United States Pentagon. He is indeed Illuminati, and on special occasions dons the traditional black robe of the Illuminati priests. The White Pope is the chief administrator of the church and a positive public image that the corporate Holy Roman Church desires to propagate upon the world's masses. His pulpit is located within the confines of the Vatican of Rome. He dons a white robe gilded in gold, which is supposed to symbolize the Almighty God's spirit, property, and wealth of the earth. The Reformation by Martin Luther was another rebellion against this royal Catholic monoculture and their Babylonian system of slave controls. Many of the European people being persecuted for their objections and ideas to these control techniques found freedom from persecution in the New World. And as a result, America flourished as no other civilization before it. In a parallel to this genuine religious belief and feeling of the American people, manipulators from the European royal faction secretly infiltrated the American society and the new deceptive concept of government that certain American leaders were attempting to establish. These manipulators then plan and evolve increasingly sophisticated ways to regain control over their deposed slaves and control over the new Republican American government. Several of the manipulations that employ was designed to drive the people into conflict and war, to strengthen them through competition, to reduce their population growth, and to profit from the sale of arms to them. The European faction used the gold and jewels they had looted from India during the Middle Ages to finance both England and America during the American Revolution and the War of 1812. Their additional goal was to strengthen their influence over the King of England and regain control over their English slaves. This is also how Freemasonry became so central to the development and history of both England and America. Note, the Chinese royal family faction had initially provided financing for the expansion and improvement of America, but vacated their presence once the American faction sufficiently dug their claws into the corrupt American government and lifeblood of the country, and the rest is history. There was a true idealism in the American adventure. However, the original concept of American democracy proved to be too unruly and too difficult for the European faction to control. To tighten their reins and employ a stricter discipline, the royal family quietly waged a 137-year physical, political, and financial battle against their deposed American slaves, utilizing the same ancient Babylonian slave-driving techniques premised upon the philosophy that he who controls the keys to the granary controls the food and the cultures of the people. Note, in addition to driving Americans into war, the staging of conflict between various races and creeds, their next target and goal was to drive the small American farmer out of business and then deplete the nutritional level of food products or replace many natural food products with chemicals, utilizing a new science called microbiotics. Next, they forced the unwashed masses to become dependent upon privately owned corporate government to feed, clothe, and protect them. And lastly, they broke the backs of the labor unions by encouraging American industry to move their corporation into third world countries by eliminating America's import and export taxes. After the European royal family secured control of America's assets by the passage of the Federal Reserve Act in 1913, their first planned strategy was to initiate preparations to immerse North America into a world war, which was accomplished by cleverly arranging the sinking of the Lusitania and the circulation of propaganda worldwide, which accused the government of Germany for this despicable act of cowardice. Note, it will not be discovered until some 80 years later that the Lusitania attack actually sunk from an internal explosion in the fire room, which could have been the result of a strategically placed bomb next to one of the ship's boilers, as opposed to a torpedo delivered from a German submarine. The American people believed the fictitious printed rumors instead of demanding proof, which eventually will become the American rule rather than the American exception. The American public will be taught to believe that everything reported by the media is the absolute truth, which succeeded in making them mentally lazy and highly gullible. The fruit of the European royal endeavors resulted in the First World War, and they financed both sides of the war. The financing contract with these nations was arranged through the Rothschild banking empire and was conditioned that, regardless of who wins or loses, both nation countries shall be responsible for the war debt, which shall be paid back in gold with interest and usually included a lien upon each nation's treasury, which ensured the European royal family's future control over the legislators of each government. Note, during World War I, a great many types of gas and germ warfare was implemented by both sides. The Illuminati took advantage of this type of warfare and increased the airborne flu virus in the United States and in Europe to help reduce the world's population of their weaker, less viral members. This flu virus will later be known as influenza and will be used by the Illuminati many more times in the future. I'll pause right there. Wow. Just the magnitude of the plan that was implemented so many centuries ago is still happening to this very day. Yes, people, you have to understand that history repeats itself, and those who fail to acknowledge history are often doomed to repeat it because, again, it speaks for itself. Now, the few people who responsibly contacted me for this personal information, for the transmission, whatever the case may be, because of the gravity of the nature of it and the amount of truth remaining within, I say by email, serious inquiries only. Serious. And to mention, people find this hard to believe because they haven't really done much research. Now, over my years of research on this topic and these subjects, whatever case may be, it's not to spread conspiracy theories, because most people know that I actually have proof beyond any shadow of a doubt that what I'm saying is absolutely correct. But you don't have to take my word for it. Just pay attention to history. Those people who actually study history will know that according to the doctrine and ideology of the ages-old adage, today is based on yesterday and tomorrow will be based on today, is because that's history repeating itself. Everything that you see happening today is nothing more than a doctored, rehearsed repetition of what appeared yesterday in culture. Whether you wish to believe that or not, it's your choice. But again, this channel is not to surround itself by conspiracy theories, or so to speak. This is fundamental truth that I spread because it's based upon concepts and precepts that other people have made aware of yesteryear, not me, so to speak. So I say that in the full assurance, in the full reality that that's the truth. This is a fundamental fact. Now, other people's channels, they embellish too much upon a lot of concepts of things they really don't know. But those channels get tons of views, you know? But the ideology is, like I said before, is to make you, again, mentally lazy, incompetent towards processes, and basically for you to particularly not really know what's really going on, to leave you in a state of uncertainty, and to further drive you into the mental mass population slavery concept. And you just learned all of this in less than 20 minutes. People who contact me, they already know, trust me. Universe knows, beyond any shadow of doubt, I have provided more people more information probably in less than 10 minutes of their life than they've learned their entire life. That's a proven fact. People in the comment section, please support that. Please support that premise. Now, those who just are spectators on the sideline because this is entertainment, that is fine. It is perfectly understandable. This channel is for educational and informational purposes only. So those who wish to get educated, they email me, I contact them. And those who wish to be entertained, well, just have a seat. But that's the premise that I provide. Most people also know on my channel I do provide confidential services. Certain topics just can't be discussed because certain things being discussed in the public view, in the public venue, will drive some people to go fucking mad. Not only that, it will also affect interests of business, and I'm not the one to sit here to try to derail any entity, anti-government propagandist ideology, libertarian views, democratic views, Republican views. I just give you the raw truth. Now, what you choose to do with it is on you, but that's what I offer on my channel. So, to new subscribers, I try to often upload as often as I can, when time allows, when the schedule allows. But if you haven't, you want the notifications, make sure you just go ahead and tap it. So when the knowledge drops, you're not left behind. For the old subs, I also posted videos on here years ago. But again, I will say this again. I took them off because, again, people are not responsible enough to use this information for its general purpose of really understanding. They've taken it, spun it totally out of control, and guess what happened? Well, it is what it is, Trust me, it hasn't happened to just me. It's happened to many other people who have YouTube channels. It's just people lack a sense of originality. It is what it is. We live in a society of the mimicry effect. Let me take something from somebody else and present it as my own idea and fantastic. It's just like a legitimized product. And, you got these dollar store knockoffs. You feel me? So it may look like or sound like, the original product, but it's not. It's totally taken from that concept. You people know most of the time you go into a grocery store, you see something that says, what's it called? You got Mountain Dew, and then you got Mountain Thunder. You know what I'm saying? I'm Mountain Dew. You know what I'm saying? The other motherfuckers are Mountain Thunder. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? It's true. And the reason why I said before I took off certain things on my channels is because I know for a fact that, again, certain things just can't be spoken about in the public venue. So my object today is to be more informative and educational than being blunt and direct, and to give people something that I gave them years ago, basically, on the table, something that's basically could be more lucidly explained and more clearly, able for you to understand for yourself and your own personal edification. People also contact me. I've gave them numerous study materials. Hell, yeah, I gave people materials over 30 days ago and still haven't heard from them. So some of them motherfuckers went to college, but we are in school because, again, university, the operative root word in there is universe. So no matter where you are, you will always learn as long as you keep an open mind and an open heart. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. And agents, you know what it is. And I'm just going to keep on rolling. You know what I'm saying? Peace, love y'all. And like I said before, new subs, please make sure you do your due diligence. It's 2. Stay on board. As long as the creator continues to allow me to do this, I will do this without any hindrance. Peace. Love y'all. Take care.